your journey started a lot differently than most people in the dubstep world and the EDM world. You started in the rap world.
I toured with Mac, Wiz, like Juicy J, French Montana. I've done tours with Riff Raff, Earth Gang. It's wild.
When did that switchover happen?
I didn't want to just make hip hop stuff and just bebop. And I thought it was cool to try to bridge the two together.
How did the business side of things work?
I'm lucky. I have Lumineers, which is an awesome earplug company. I work with Cake, which is like a cannabis company. Lazy Susan. I'm starting to work with Greek Glass. I have my hand in a lot of things.
And on top of that, you're a dad. And I wanted to ask kind of like work-life balance. How does that fit into your life?
Like I said,
I have my hand in a lot of things.
You're basically training like your replacement. It's wild. As of right now, it's 50-50 on worth it, I guess. And I've been focusing a lot on Sun Slappers. So now, like this next year, I'm just releasing a lot of music, doing Sun Slappers seriously, making that a thing, and bringing it all together finally and making it something.
DJ Afterthought, welcome to the Underground Society podcast, man. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. So before we get going on all of this, I wanted to start, I always like to start it kind of at the beginning of your guys' journeys and any guests that we have on, but your journey started a lot differently than most people in the dubstep world and the EDM world. You started in the rap world, and I kind of want to just start there. How did you originally get into music? What got you into rap, and kind of where did everything start for you?
I just kind of grew up listening to all kind of different music. I grew up in like North Jersey, and we had like K-Rock and Hot 97 and Z100. And then I had like my grandparents that listened to like Frank Sinatra and the Beatles. And then my dad listened to just classic rock, and I listened to alternative and just all kind of things. And I've just been around it for a long time. So I carried that with me. I played hockey pretty heavily as well growing up. So I kind of just like skateboarded, played hockey, and just like mess with music as much as possible.
You're from the East Coast. Where are you from?
I grew up in Mahwah, New Jersey. So like Bergen County, we border New York State, but
is hockey pretty big in that area?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty
yeah, that's what I thought.
Street hockey, roller hockey, ice hockey, any kind of hockey. Pretty big. Ponds freeze over, all the time back then as well. So it was just pond hockey, organized hockey, whatever we could do. So it was dope. So then I basically was going to go and play college hockey. I graduated a little bit early for playing some juniors, and I couldn't take the scholarships at the time. So I was like, I want to get out of Jersey. I'll start school. Went down to North Carolina, went there for 2 years, kind of still did music. Like coming up as well, I just kind of like always be at studios with random people, like DJ Clue back in the day. Like I would just be at these random studios, and it could be rap, punk, it didn't matter. I was going to all kind of underground shows, no matter what it was, just, hop on the train, the city's right there. So it was easy to move around. So we did all kinds of stuff like that, just loved it. And when I got to college, I decided not to play hockey anymore. And I was trying to get into audio engineering school in Arizona called Crass. And they just don't take a lot of people every year. I think they take like 16 or 32 people between their two campuses.
Yeah, it's like one class size.
Yeah, it's like 2 classes a year at each campus. And you flip-flop. They have like 2 campuses, and you flip-flop. And there's just a small amount of studios, but they're really dope. So it's a lot more hands-on and whatnot, but, I couldn't get in, and I finally got a referral, and they were like, oh, we're starting in 2 weeks. So I had to basically transfer to Arizona State and to Crass kind of at the same time, and made a miracle happen, packed my car, drove out there, and, started doing like recording stuff, producing stuff, but a lot of like live sound and like in studio, recording. And that was kind of the lane that I was doing. I got to do like some intern stuff on a Red Hot Chili Peppers album, on a Kanye album, just like little patch-based stuff. And then like at some shows and concerts and entertainment companies in Arizona. So I did that. And then I moved out to California to do some intern stuff out there, was broke, decided that I was going to try to get into grad school at WVU, got in, realized how much it was, quit. So I started just like doing live sound, accidentally became a DJ by another DJ not showing up and me having virtual DJ. And I just kind of just always fell into the hip hop stuff because I would produce hip hop and record hip hop a lot. And it was just really popular at the time. So I would do that, but I would always tinker with like, old school programs and different like what was it, Reactor and there was another one that I would just like mess with all the time, and it was just really fundamental at the time. So it was a lot harder to grasp than doing the hip hop stuff while I was heavily in that. But I always loved it. So, I just continued the thing with the hip hop just because the opportunities were there. Started doing stuff with Mac and Wiz and all the Pittsburgh guys.
I'm sure with that world too, like being that starting there, where you went to school and where you got your education from and stuff, I would think that would put you more, and especially at the time, the era that it would definitely put you more in the lane of like the rap hip hop world, because that was kind of what was popping off, and what was, I'm sure a lot of the students wanted to be fed into that world instead of that was what was hot. So
yeah, it was definitely starting to become really big at that point, and it wasn't at the point.
That was like early phases of like Mac Miller and like Wiz Khalifa. That was like early.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got here after they popped, but I was still in other scenes doing other things in the hip hop scene, and I just, it wasn't to the point where everybody had a setup, right? Like you couldn't just go to your friend's house or go to your like friend's little studio or like whatever. It was, you had to go to a studio, so there was a lot of like traffic in and out of actual places, so it was a lot easier.
You saw a lot of people. You got in front of people's face. Yeah,
exactly.
Cool.
So
yeah, the game was so much different back then. It's social media and people producing out of their houses and shit. Now it's just like social media is the place for that now.
Yeah, for sure. And then also like with it, I started touring and like tour DJing for other artists. So that.
Who'd you tour with?
I toured with Mac. I've done tours with Wiz. I've done stuff with like Juicy J, French Montana. I've done tours with Riff Raff. I've done tours with Earth Gang. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. But I did all that stuff, and I was still like quietly kind of like tinkering, making electronic. And I finally
How'd you get introduced to the electronic world? Just being in the music industry, it just kind of happened, or?
Yeah, and college. College stuff, going to rave, whatever. So, I knew it. I still enjoyed it. It was a lot of like techno and that kind of stuff back then.
Oh, yeah. Big room.
Dubstep was starting to come together, and there was, things starting to happen. So it's cool to watch, and when it got to a point where I didn't feel like it, where I thought that it progressed enough for me to be able to kind of hop in and use elements that I knew and was comfortable with. And then just started like tossing it out there, meeting people and kind of like networking with people and putting it out there that I wanted to do it. And then I just linked with a bunch of artists that I worked with.
When did that switch over happen?
I did like a track or two for Riff Raff for live shows that were like just electronic based. So we did that. And then I, left that situation to do, pursue my stuff, and just kept on doing that. And then I would end up with like verses and, features from bigger artists, bigger hip hop artists. And I just collabed with other electronic artists. And when I first started though, a lot of the people were like, oh, you're a hip hop dude. You're like, you can't cross over, blah. And then it eventually turned into like a lot of the same people are doing the same things or asking for features and blah, blah, blah. blah. So,
from the people that I've had on the podcast over the last few years, I've talked to a few, I think I'll use Black Sheep for an example. He's in dubstep and the, hybrid trap kind of world right now. When I had him on, he was telling me that he wants to eventually move into like pop and other genres outside of just the dubstep scene. It happened almost in reverse for you. And I think that's so interesting that like a lot of people in the dubstep world I see like want to go experiment in different genres. But was it almost in your mind like, okay, I'm kind of burnt out from the rap hip hop world, and I want to go try my hand in this?
Yeah, and
was it also a part like you, instead of being the back end guy, did you want to be the forefront guy?
Yeah, I mean, I would put out a lot of stuff that I like would produce, and it would have my name on it on tracks and stuff. But like, yeah, I wanted to do more as a brand and more as an artist, because I didn't want to just make hip hop stuff and just be boxed in. Like I have a pop punk project that I did vocals and a bunch of instrumentation and drum stuff on. I just like music, I thought it was cool to try to, kind of bridge the two together. in a cool way and not like a
Yeah.
corny, weird, like forced way.
It almost for a good example of this, I've heard way back in the day. I don't know if you are familiar with this song or not, but and it's in the country world. But way back in the day, Nelly and Tim McGraw, I think, did a
Yeah,
collab,
of
and it was
course,
like a
of
country.
course.
Yeah, I think everyone knows that
No,
song, but
no,
it's like
no, no,
that kind of almost
no.
felt forced. But
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Obviously, that's something that was probably born in a studio meeting somewhere. But
more of a branding like
oh
collab
yeah,
business plan than anything.
super
Yeah,
copy commercial #1 charter. Crossover. That's when the big crossover push started, when everybody's like, oh, this is crossover. And then you started hearing a lot of the hip hop elements and a lot of stuff like pop, country, a lot of 808s.
and now you're hearing a lot of in the pop music. Now you're hearing a lot of electronic stuff infused in it. So it's changed a lot over the years. I wanted to ask you, what does Afterthought mean? Where did your name come from? Where did your brand come from?
So my name, like I said, I did a big party for WVU. One of like my mentors really did a bunch of live sound around WVU for the school, for frats, for all kind of stuff. And I was helping him, and a DJ, it was like in a tent, and there was like 2,500, 3,000 people there, students, athletes. The band was random. It was right outside the stadium. And we got there, we set everything up, and the one DJ didn't show up. So I was just kind of like, hey, like I have virtual DJ and I could play music or whatever. He's like, okay, well, that's like, that's an afterthought. I would have never even thought about it. Let's like do it. So I'm thinking I'm going to be back here at the sound, area, just playing music. And he goes up and he like basically grabs my computer and he puts it up there, and he's just like, he introduces me as Afterthought, as DJ Afterthought. And then I went up and I had no idea what I was doing, but I was just playing music. And it was good enough to get some more little like frat gigs.
You were talking about how you originally people are kind of questioning, you belong in the rap world, and that's primarily from the people in the EDM world. But did you get any support from like the people that you were doing work with in like the rap industry or the hip hop industry at first?
Yeah, see, that was always something that I kind of kept in the back of my mind as well, was like, I didn't want to be the guy who did a bunch of back end stuff and was like kind of on that end, and then be the friend that was like, oh, I'm an artist now too. And use the connections and things that I built, to now push that when I'm still doing a lot of other things. So I kind of kept it quiet for a while. But the people that did know definitely supported it. And then once I started to pursue it, everybody supported it for the most part.
Awesome. Yeah, I would think like I know the music is a lot different, but I'm sure even people in that different genre still like dance music.
Oh yeah,
still,
I mean, I brought.
So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've played stuff for a lot of artists, a lot of bigger artists that really like stuff like that, just randomly. And then I brought artists to shows and all kind of stuff. And
that's cool.
I was in Austin. Last time I was in Austin, I'm friends with Gary Clark Jr. and he came to my show in Austin.
That's awesome.
It was funny as hell. It was like a side stage, but it's like at this dubstep show having a blast.
Cool. So random too. I feel like if you saw someone like that at a dubstep show, you'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah, I was like, "Damn, this is epic."
How did the business side of things work? Because I know you were probably signed with maybe management with your rap hip hop stuff, and now you might be signed with someone else who might align better with the electronic scene, who might have more connections there. What did that look like when you were transitioning?
I managed people and tour managed and did all kind of stuff, so I kind of managed myself for the most part. And then I had a couple management things that I relationships that I had with 24/8 was basically the first electronic partnership that I had for management, because I lived in like right outside of Nashville. So it made sense and everybody was cool, but they were kind of going a different lane. So it wasn't ultimately what would be perfect for my situation. So I kind of did it myself more or less, and then started kind of just transitioning. One of my good friends, his name is Seth. He's kind of like, he's my day-to-day like business side stuff. And he came in kind of, as I was progressing a little bit more, to help me on that side. And then now it's progressed to where like my main like manager is his name is Will Zombach. He's like the president of Taylor Gang. He's Wiz's manager, and he's got a lot of influence in the music industry.
So
but
you're still under hip hop management to a certain degree.
well, kind of. So he's like the overseer of my project as a whole. I've been friends with him for 11 years, to like a long time.
Somebody
so
you really trust that you.
Somebody I trust, somebody that's just there, but he's not like an electronic music guy. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of like back end stuff and just, things that he could plug and different things and making sure my business end is taken care of. Seth kind of falls in the middle and he works for, Universal Music. So he kind of has an inside on the back end as well. And then I also have Gridlock. So I'm also with Gridlock as well. And Paige and Kevin and John and all the people there are awesome. So they really take care of it. They've been doing a lot for my electronic side. So we just kind of like have a whole team. And then I have a friend named Jared who works with Excision and Tiesto and a bunch of people that's helping with our booking and stuff like that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was curious. I was like, how does that business side, like, I'm sure it's like, because it's kind of like two different, completely separate entities almost. I mean, it's cool that you're involved in both. Are you still involved in the rap world too? Like to this day?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I have a studio in Pittsburgh, like NID Labs. So I have like the other day we just had like a couple days ago we had Jaquise here for 2 days. She was just like had a show here, came, hung out. So like we did studio stuff. I still do stuff with Earth Gang. Still do like tour management stuff with Earth Gang. I still make hip hop beats and do stuff like that. But I've been doing a whole lot. So it's I have my hand in a lot of things. I still it's still credits on a lot and all kind of different things going on.
Yeah, and on top of that, you're a owner of a company, Blazy Susan.
Yes, so I'm not a founder.
Okay, I wasn't sure on that part.
I have, I'm a partner in Blazy Susan, but I came on pretty early on before it was what it is now.
What is Blazy Susan for the people who are listening that don't know what that is?
Blazy Susan is a rolling paper and just kind of like lifestyle brand. We sell a lot of like merch, accessories, a lot of like cannabis related stuff, obviously, but also some like style stuff and things like that. And then off of that, we've built Blazy Builds, which is a whole different company that provides build outs for trade shows, pop-ups.
Wow, that's cool. That's just expensive too.
It can be expensive, but it can be a lot cheaper than you think it is. We just have a whole warehouse that's dedicated to doing that, and they are really good. So a lot easier than people think, but still, a production nonetheless. Will, Thomas, Trey, Zach, all the top guys over there do a really good job. We donate a lot to cancer because that's kind of how it started with the pink papers. And yeah, we just try to do a bunch of stuff inside the culture and then just inside the scene on a multiple planes. But it's been really cool on the electronic side because it's everybody's just really taken to it. So
yeah, you guys are sold out. I think Yessie, one of the co-owners of Dubstep FPI, I know she works for you guys. And I was talking to her about it, and I was like, man, I want a dab tray so bad because I love wax. I smoke wax.
Oh man, just after this, just send me your address.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Dude, I've been looking at those things. I'm like, man, I want one so bad because it's such a pain in the ass because like the like when you're using wax or whatever, like it gets stuck to the top of my desk. I'm like, I want something to like be able to like not fuck up my desk and like to have a little holder tray thing for it.
What do you want?
I would have to look, but I think it's a great idea for those wax connoisseurs. How did you get onto the team though? Like, I know you said you weren't a founder, but how did they find you? What did you provide to them?
Really early on, actually. So I was doing, I forget who I was on tour with the first time, but I met Trey, who also went to Duquesne at one point in Pittsburgh, and I just met him, and he was like in a green room or backstage or something, and we met and we were like talking about blah, and he had them. And he gave me some or whatever. And then the next time I went, he came and brought like a bunch of stuff. And then I plugged him with Juicy J and DJ Paul. And he ended up like going to the hotel, giving them some weed, giving them some papers. And then they took him to the show and he has like a video walking on stage with them when they walk out and all kind of stuff. So it just started where we're like, okay, cool. Like any artist that I know that comes through Denver, I'll plug you with them. And it just kind of started from there. And then we were getting stuff on tour buses as they were coming through on tour. And yeah, they started doing a lot on their end, getting
Such a
in
cool
stores
kind of
and
get
all.
your way into the marketing way to, connect with artists, push it through that way. Yeah,
Basically been all organic, and they're a whole team that was like it grew. And I mean, they just did an amazing job capturing everything, on the business side and then also on that side.
So what do you use specifically for them? Basically, you're like one of the marketing guys. You're the one who kind of gets the
No,
products
so I'm
out.
a business development director.
Okay.
But I'm like
Both. Yeah, you still do that.
I do a ton of stuff.
Right. From the early days, I know it. I'm sure it started. It started with just the trays, right?
Yeah, it started with the Blazy Susan, just with like the spinning tray, and then the pink papers, and kind of
And
just
it slowly evolved over time. Do you see, in the future, near future, distant future, do you guys have any goals for adding more to your product line, or how do you see it shifting and changing?
Yeah,
in the future?
we have. So we started Susan's Own, which is a completely dedicated separate company that has Cynthia Bailey, who's one of the housewives, who's like a really huge businesswoman. She's the CEO or something up there that we brought on. And then it's completely dedicated to CBD. We have like bombs and everything. Then we have whole lines of different papers. We have whole lines of different merch, bags, all accessories that you can possibly think of. And then we have a ton of like collabs coming up. We just did like, we're doing a ton more of stuff kind of like this.
Oh, sick.
Like inflatables, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have all kind of stuff in the, in here. Actually, I can grab this, but like that's my TM brand in
What's
there.
up, dude?
Hey.
What's going on?
But you can't, maybe, can you plug that in?
Yeah.
So we have like a bunch of signage, and we could plug it in for you here.
So cool. Your office is sick, man.
Thanks, man. It's actually, it doubles as the studio that the booth is over there.
Oh, very cool.
And there's
There we go.
whole side of things. But yeah, we have, I can't see it, of course. But we have big blazy neons and all kind of stuff.
The last kind of topic that I want to talk to you about, because I know we've talked about all your the company that you're involved in, all your music stuff, and kind of your journey to get to where you are. But something that kind of happened along your journey is you're a dad, and I wanted to ask kind of like work-life balance. How does that fit into your life? You look like a great dad, but when did that happen, and how does that fit into your life?
It happened early on in my career for sure. He's 7 and he's about to turn 8 coming in April. So, 9 years ago or so, it kind of started the journey. But my wife is super, super awesome and has really held me down as far as like touring and stuff like that. In the beginning, it was like a lot of touring. So she really like helped out and made sure that, I was able to do that, but still helped me maintain that. And, I definitely missed some times I didn't want to miss. And it's definitely something I wish I wouldn't have done, but at the same time provided more opportunities down the line. And now that he's getting a little bit older and there's a lot more going on, sports, stuff like that, I've been just traveling a lot less. So I've been picking and choosing shows and choosing festivals and just focusing on putting out a lot of music and building brand stuff, and then doing stuff here and there, and or making little vacations out of it, or like whatever I can do. But that's definitely the move for me for now, where I'm at this point. So it's been easier on that, but still difficult to kind of maintain growth without traveling as much. But I'm lucky. I have Lumineers, which is an awesome earplug company. They're LED earplugs, super dope, that I work with. I work with Cake, which is like a cannabis company. I work with Blazy Susan. I'm starting to work with Greek Glass. So I have a lot of things that I help out with and do on the business side that helps out a lot too. So
talk a little bit about that sacrifice of not being able to missing some of those opportunities with your kid and having to tour and stuff. What was your mindset going through that? Like, did you do it knowing that like, hey, I have to sacrifice now so that I can provide a better future? Or?
Yeah, just to like being transparent about it, I just kind of looked at it like, okay, I probably have more of an opportunity to do this now when he's not going to really remember it, and it's still like I want to remember those memories, but I was there for a lot of it. It's just like little things that I wish I was there for. I definitely that sucks, but he doesn't necessarily remember them, and I want to just make sure that the more that he remembers stuff that I'm
You're
there
around more, yeah.
right. So that was kind of the mindset, and also it's like I'm setting up. It's a you're basically training like like your replacement is really what it is.
Is
And
is he interested in music at all? Is it?
oh yeah, he loves
okay?
music. Loves video games, music, sports,
Video games in music? No.
he's into all of it. So, it's really cool to see him kind of come into his own person also, but sacrificing to get to where I am now and be, stable and built long-term things. We'll see, as of right now, it's 50-50 on worth it, I guess.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I think everyone though in the music industry to make it or make a career out of this, it's like to some level in your situation, you had a kid at the time. In my situation, whatever it is, some kids I'm deciding not to go to college because of it. It's like some sort of everyone has to sacrifice. So it's interesting. Like, I haven't really talked to that many people who have been in your situation where like it's been a kid that you'd have to sacrifice for. So I'm sure.
Right. And I mean, like I said, I've sacrificed a lot, and now it's kind of gotten to the point where those sacrifices are getting less and less. So yeah, and definitely paying off and makes it easier for me not to miss stuff in the future. So, it's a balance, but you just kind of have to roll with it and do the best you can. So it's kind of how I live regardless, my life, my kids, whatever I can do to better it and just keep growing is what I'm going to look for. And I've been focusing a lot on Sun Slappers. So that's been growing a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You guys have been killing that.
Yeah, man, it's been really cool. So we actually tonight we have Drink Your Water. So it's be a really dope one.
I'll try and tune in. That's on Twitch, correct?
Yes, on Twitch. It's twitch.com/SendSlappers.
I'll drop that first link in the description for you too, so that when people listen to this episode, they can go and click on that.
Cool. Like the community is really dope, and we don't get like bad music. It's wild.
Yeah, I've seen it. You've had what guests? I know Shizlo's been on there. You just said Drink Your Waters tonight. What other people have you had?
Riot 10's been on there. 100 Drums has been on there. Taboo's been on there. We got G-Rex coming up. We have Vastav coming up. We have Brain Rack coming up. We have I'm missing a bunch of people. Plasma.
I think I met you in person at Lost Land. I think through Brain Rack. I'm pretty sure I said what's up to you like 2 years ago, I think.
Dude, Lost Lands festivals are hard because you just meet so many people, and I've actually, but like instances, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, I know. And it was really quick. I was just like, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. All right, bye. So I don't blame you.
But yeah, I mean, who else do we have? We have a ton of people coming up. We have we're working on getting Dubstep FBI back on it. We've had Stylist signed a track on there. We had Partica and House Rex on there. We had so many people. Cliptic. We've had.
Yeah. How long have you guys been doing that?
Doing it for like over 2 years, but we took a huge break for a couple, like 4 or 5 months at one point, and then like other months where we just kind of took off. We're out touring or doing whatever. So it's been a while, but the past like I don't know, 2 months, month and a half we've really like made it something.
And it's weekly, right?
Yeah, it's weekly. We have like monthly calendars now that we have planned out. We have email lists. We're doing Spotify and SoundCloud playlists. We're doing mail outs. We're doing a lot more media. We're giving a 1 hour live set on the Twitch on Sunday evenings for the winner of the week. So yeah, we're trying to just make it better and better. Eventually, we want to do some stage takeovers.
That's what I was going to ask. What's your goal for the future with that?
Yeah, we just want to be able to be a hub to get good music to the producer community, get it to the bigger artists. We have, pretty solid, contact list for that. So we just want to get it out, maybe send out, 15 tracks a month and just say, hey, here's, the tracks for that you either want to play out and have like an artist list, and we have a label list. And we're like, hey, just check these out. We think you might enjoy some of these. This is what we got this month. And then on the artist side, just send it out, every 2 weeks, every month, and just say, hey, this is the best tracks we think of the month, and hopefully get them played out.
That's cool. What is the guest? Because obviously you said bring on guests. I have not seen one, but I've seen your guys' social media stuff. I will tune in tonight because I actually want to see how you guys do this. But what do you guys bring on the guest for, and what is their role in the live stream?
So we give feedback and critiques, and then we give a score based on the feedback and critique.
So it's just like a guest judge kind of.
Yeah, basically a guest judge. And everybody has a different fan base, everybody has different styles, and we just like to kind
bring in new people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the person who lost by 0.1 last week was a hip hop track. I mean,
shit.
Kind of take everything, and it was a really good song. So we're like, damn, this is really sick.
That's very cool. Yeah, I was gonna ask too. Have you had more? You just said you bring in other styles of music, but do you bring in, or do you plan on bringing in people outside of the dubstep world, like house?
Yeah. So coming up in February as well, we have a Taylor Gang takeover. So it's gonna be Sledrin and Ricky P from Taylor
Very
Gang.
Cool.
And they're obviously some bigger hip hop guys, and they'll be there doing, having people send stuff. So I'm sure we'll definitely get some more, electronic stuff as usual, but definitely some more hip hop.
Very cool. Well, we've talked about everything you got going on, but during your journey, and it's kind of, the main topic of what I wanted to touch on for this episode, but what has been your biggest challenge growing a name for yourself in the music industry? Like over this time, I know there's a lot of challenges. We talked about sacrifice, we talked about having a kid, we talked about all kinds of stuff that you've had to face, but what do you think has been like the most difficult portion or the most difficult aspect of your career this far?
Just man, just as a whole, it's a whole production of things. It's maintaining social media at all times, and
that's a hard part. Yeah.
Transferring to the TikTok things and just always having to be on point on that. And then just kind of like, I mean, honestly, just kind of like the gatekeepiness, just a lot of stuff that, could happen that doesn't, or is hesitant or takes a lot longer time than should. I think that's kind of held me back more than anything, but I'm not blaming anybody else. So, that's something that I can overcome as well. But I think just waiting, I just waited. I just waited for things to kind of come to me instead of just going and getting. So now, like this next year, I'm just releasing a lot of music. I'm doing a lot more music and doing Sun Slappers seriously, making that a thing, and working on all the other stuff I have with all my other brands, and bringing it all together finally and making it something.
It sounds like it was kind of getting in your own way in a sense.
Yeah, and I just wanted to do a lot of different things, so I never solely focused.
Your sole focus was on a few different things instead of mastering one thing at a time, right?
Right, and yeah, and I think a lot of people are. I think they're kind of intimidated by it because a lot of people don't have the capacity to really do it. I don't even think that I do. I just got to make it work sometimes, but it's like they don't think you can, handle it, or you're taking it seriously, or it's serious enough for them, even though you might be doing more than the examples they give, or so it's a fine line. Yeah, I think just breaking in as a whole, just having the whole hip hop side and people not really knowing the electronic side. So I think that was the biggest hurdle.
The gatekeepers too, like you mentioned, I feel like because you
and I mean
labeled as this hip hop guy, the gatekeeping almost maybe might have happened even harsher towards you.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it was definitely relevant or prevalent and showed itself pretty quickly, but. I mean, hey man, I'm just trying to chase my dream just like everybody else, and it's funny too. On this side, I don't even want to say on this side and generalize a whole scene, but there's a lot less face-to-face confrontation, if you will, about everything as a whole. So it's just a lot more behind the scenes stuff.
Now that you successfully made your leap over to the EDM world, and obviously you're still involved in what you used to do as well, but what are some goals that you have for that side of your project, for the EDM side of your project? What do you want to do in the upcoming future?
So last year was awesome. I played Tomorrowland, I played Lost Lands, I saw your
Sunset Fest. You did a great job.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I did a lot of cool stuff. I did a lot of directs for a lot of dope artists that I looked up to, or just admired. This year, it's just to release a ton of music and just steady, pick and choose the right shows and festivals to play, and just really, really bring the brand together. And bring the media together, bring the brand, all the visuals and things like that, and make it really solid and whole and cohesive. Yeah.
Yeah. I think with you releasing more music and people, gravitating towards that side and actually starting to listen to your music on a regular basis, it's going to help a lot with people recognizing you and, wanting to go to your sets more and, having that, like you said, cohesive brand where you're recognizable more in the scene. So.
Right. Yep. And that's kind of the goal, without having to, overdo it.
Yeah. What about the rap side of things? What are some goals there? What do you want to accomplish on that side of things?
Rap
or
side
have you already kind of accomplished all that you wanted
I've
to?
accomplished a lot on that side. I just want to continue to kind of just, get in where I fit in with that and make the most of my opportunities if they arise, and continue to work with artists and do some crossover stuff and just kind of have fun and make music.
Are you focused more on one versus another at this current moment?
Definitely, focused on the electronic side more, but it's the other side's always there. The opportunities are fluent, and I'm just always kind of in it anyway. So
how has that been for you now, being instead of the behind the scenes guy, producer, sound engineer, to now you are the guy, you are, the face of the project? Is there a different feeling there for you? Is that kind of...
Not really, because I'm, I kind of like have always been that way. And even DJing, like I would go and just hype crowds and do whatever.
Okay, so you already had that, like people knew.
Yeah, I was very vocal and already kind of in it, and watched all my friends and all these people around me do it even way bigger. So it was just kind of like, I at least knew what kind of to do. And I still don't like being, I just like being me. So it's not really I don't know. It's not really a switch.
Right.
Maybe a little bit
you
more
like both, so you do both.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, before we get out of here, do you have anything to tease? Do you have anything that you can talk about, the upcoming dates, new music projects, anything like that you like to get out there?
Yeah, definitely. So I have a couple tracks coming up. The first one's with Blue Pill. Shout out to Blue Pill. Super dope artist, but he did some vocals and we did some co-production on a really, really dope, like grimy, just like trap track. So that'll come out, I think, the first or second week of January. And then I have a track with Shizlo, and then I have a track with Felmax that we're going to put out. And then I have like 25 tracks that we're placing and kind of getting together. So, and then I think like four or five more collabs coming up that are going to be really, really dope. So with some big hip hop artists.
Do you have any exciting show dates coming up?
Shows, I have kind of took like a hiatus for the rest of the year. So we're doing a bunch of stuff next year that they're all kind of negotiating still.
Yeah, don't.
And some stuff that we haven't announced yet. So
cool.
Yes, but
yes. Cool. I have the last couple questions for you. Where can the listeners find you and support you? What is the best place to get in contact with you if they have any questions?
So the best place to get in contact usually is just like Instagram or, Instagram's pretty easy. And then like Send Slappers, we do email and stuff like that. It's pretty simple. As far as music, everything is under DJ Afterthought. That's something that I've always wanted to change just to Afterthought, but I have such a back catalog under that. It's just really hard to reverse it all.
If you were to change, what are some ideas that you might change into?
I would probably just leave it as Afterthought and take out the DJ. Right. But like I said, it's just associated to everything already. So it's kind of
I feel like dropping DJ though, it's still Afterthought. I feel like people would.
Right. So but some people.
Like if I were to search your name, I wouldn't type in DJ Afterthought. I would just type in Afterthought.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what people would do, but there's a lot of people that still say DJ Afterthought. So, but yeah, it's all under DJ Afterthought. All my stuff is at DJ Afterthought. And then you can check me out on all the Send Slappers stuff. It's just at Send Slappers on everything.
Yeah. Tune in. What day is that? Tuesday?
It's Wednesday nights. Wednesdays.
My bad. Tonight. Yeah.
Wednesday. Tonight we got Drink Your Water. Yeah, man.
Sweet. And then I had a question that just popped in my head about that. Can people go back and watch?
Yeah. So we have it's on Twitch for 2 weeks, and then I believe that we're starting to upload like big chunks of clips onto YouTube as well.
Cool. Okay. So I'll try and link both of those. I'll try and find and link both of those so people can check those out. Final question. I ask this at the end of every single interview. If there's one piece of advice you could give yourself when you first started making music and started your career, what would that be?
Don't.
Don't.
Be a doctor or something.
Yeah, right.
I would have probably just told myself to just be focused right from the bat and just focus on learning before the fun, learning before the accolades, learning before the adrenaline of it all, learning before the ego, learning before the everything, just all fundamentals and knowing business, knowing your craft, all that stuff. I would have definitely taken my time to make sure that I would have done that first. And
that's good advice. That's definitely what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take my time and not rush things and try and learn the craft first. So I think that's great advice.
Definitely. So that would be it.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Thanks so much for your time today. It was great chatting with you.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.